Well, what is up, Transit? How are we doing this morning, everybody? There we are. Guys, if I have not had the chance to meet you yet, my name is Ashlyn, and I'm so excited that you're here. And if it's your very first time with us here at Transit, welcome. I hope that you have the best morning getting to meet your small group, and then I really, really hope that we get to see you back here. Because even though I may be a little bit biased, I truly believe that Transit is the best place to be on a Sunday morning, and you guys are what makes Transit so incredible. And if you're here today, you chose a really good week to be here because we are in week 2 of this series called Better, which, as you can tell, is very heavily pizza themed. And so I don't know about you, but between seeing this picture and watching that video, it's made me a little bit hungry. Like, I know it's 9:24 a.m., but I'm already ready for lunch. And so, I knew that this would probably happen to myself. I would be around all this pizza, and I really love pizza. So I decided to bring some with me this morning, just for a little snack. It's nothing crazy because there's not that many pizza shops open at 7 a.m. in the morning. So we do just have a good, frozen DiGiorno pizza here, just some cheese. Yes, we like it, everybody. But honestly, I'm an adventurous kind of gal, and I like some toppings on my pizza. Do we like toppings on our pizza, or are we cheese people? Toppings? Okay, my cheese pizza people. Okay, a little bit. We definitely like toppings. So I gotta know, I'm gonna make my pizza this morning. What type of toppings do you guys like on pizza? You can just start yelling them out. Okay, I hear pepperoni, mushrooms, bacon. Did someone say pineapple? Pickles? Okay, wow. Okay, we got a lot of different types of toppings here. Now, here's the thing. I also had to go to the grocery store this morning and was just kind of going through quickly, and so I did my best to figure out what toppings. So, I typically like pepperoni or like bacon bits, but I couldn't really come across those that fast. So, Gushers are about the same, don't you think? Yeah, some Gushers. They're kind of red like a pepperoni or a piece of bacon. Pineapple on pizza. I know it's a controversial issue, but I like pineapple. However, I couldn't find any this morning, so mandarin oranges. How does this sound to everybody? Like some mandarin oranges on our pizza? Yes. Oh, stunning. Do I have any ranch lovers in the room? Ranch with pizza? Okay. We're going to go with some vanilla pudding this morning instead. We'll put this, right on top here. Beautiful. Okay, yes. Whoa, that was nice. And then this might be a bit of a hot take, but does anyone, wow, I got vanilla pudding on my hands. Does anyone like peppers or tomatoes or any type of vegetables on their pizza? Okay, we have some friends. Produce is expensive nowadays, if you haven't heard, so I have some baby food. Squash, chickpeas, spinach, maybe this would be pretty good. Whoa, my goodness. We're gonna put that on here. Wow. Okay. Doesn't this look like just the best snack you've ever seen in your life? I'm pretty hungry, so on second thought, guys, I don't know if I can. It smells so bad, I think I might throw up. Truly tough over here. I don't know. I'm thinking in this moment that maybe I should have listened to your advice. Maybe I should have listened to the pepperoni or the bacon, or maybe just stuck with plain cheese at the beginning. I should have listened to my cheese people, because now my issue is I'm hungry, and I don't know if I can eat this. And honestly, I don't know if pickles would make this any better, so I think I'm in a bit of a pickle here. But guys, how often do we end up in this place? Here's what I mean by this. How often have you guys heard some advice, heard some suggestions, maybe from parents or friends or teachers on how to approach a situation, maybe how to build a pizza? Hopefully you build a pizza better than me. And you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but actually I'm gonna do the complete opposite of what you said. Or actually I'm just gonna ignore what you said because I actually think that I know better. I think that I know how to make a better pizza here. I think that I know how to approach this friendship situation better. I think I know how to tackle this assignment at school better. Or I know how to live my summer better because, yeah, I'm 12, 13, 14 years old. Like, I got it all figured out. I don't need anybody. And if I'm honest, I end up in that same situation all the time as well. And I think it's because for us, just as humanity, oftentimes we think to ourselves, hey, I don't actually need anyone's advice. I don't need anyone's advice. I got it figured out. I have the best of intentions. I know what's up. I know myself and I know my life better than all of these other people around me. So like, I'm good. I'm good. But then you guys know as well as I do, what often happens is you end up in a bit of a messy situation like this. Maybe your parents, especially during the school year, they're like, hey, you actually need to go to bed on time because I know that you're going to have to wake up the next morning and go through an entire school day and maybe take this test or this quiz. And you're like, but in the moment, I would rather stay up on my phone. I would rather watch TV. I would rather not miss out on chatting with my friends at night. And so I think it's worth it. Like, I'll be fine in the morning. And then sure enough, the next morning rolls around and you wake up and I mean, you are dog tired and you're like, the last thing I want to do is get out of this bed this morning. And in that moment, you start to think, well, maybe my parents actually had a point here. Maybe I'd be feeling better in this moment. Or maybe it's leading up to a test at school and you're like, no, I know all the material. I got it. I'm going to do great. Who needs to study? There's better things to do with my time. But even your friends have been like, hey, no, like, I think you need to study for this math test. Like, this is a hard one. And then you get to school and you try, and then you get that grade back, and you're like, man, like, maybe I should have listened to some people. Or I'll take it a step farther. Maybe you have been taught and raised to be kind and respectful to people, to be a good friend to people. And you know this, and you know that this is better for you. But then you get caught in that situation, you're like, oh, I'll just make this one jab. Or I'll just gossip just a little bit because, like, it makes me feel okay with this group of people if I'm, like, hanging in on the conversation. But you're actually hurting this other person that you so called your friend. And then they find out, and then you have a severed friendship here, and it creates all this drama at school, and you're like, how did I end up here? Like, maybe I should have just listened to the wisdom and advice of people who knew better than me. What often happens is we tend to make decisions based on how we feel in the moment, and we forget that there are actually consequences to those decisions later on. Like, now I'm hungry and I can't eat my pizza. But it's because we've bought into this lie that we don't need anyone's advice. And so this morning, I actually want us to look at a passage of Scripture that really combats this lie and gives us a different approach. And so we are going to be looking in the book of Proverbs this morning, but I want to give you a little backstory on Proverbs. Proverbs was written by a guy named Solomon. And now Solomon was one of the sons of David, and so he actually became king of Israel around like 3,000 years ago. And what's crazy is he became king, honestly, not too much older than you are right now. And so can you imagine all of a sudden becoming king or queen of this country, and you're like, I got to make all these decisions for all of these different people. All of a sudden you have so much power, and you have so much access to different resources, but there's a big responsibility on your hands. And so God actually comes to Solomon, and he's like, hey, I want you to be successful at this, so I'm going to give you one request. And whatever that request is that you make, I will grant it. Now, that's a pretty good place to be in. I mean, if God came to me and was like, hey, I will grant you anything that you want, I mean, I would be asking for more money, maybe a better house, maybe a better trip, I don't know. The next newest best thing. And Solomon being slightly older than you, you'd think maybe he'd like that as well. But no, actually what he asked for is he's like, God, I want wisdom. Because Solomon knew, even from around your age, that wisdom was the only thing that was going to be able to help him actually rule this country well. And we're lucky today because he goes on to record all of this wisdom in what we now know as the book of Proverbs. So I want you to see what Solomon says this morning. He says in Proverbs 19, verse 20, get all the advice and instruction you can so that you will be wise the rest of your life. get all of the advice and the instruction you can. Now, this is coming from the wisest man to ever live, and yet he is still advising, hey, this is a good idea, to go to people and ask people for advice. And I think he tells us this because he knows as humans, we are naturally wired to think we've got it all under control, to think that we've got it figured out. But he also knows that every single person to ever live will one day come up against something where they don't know what's best, or they don't know where to turn to. They don't know the best way forward or what decision they need to make. He knows at some point or other we will all end up with questions. And so he's saying, hey, when you get there, or maybe even before you get there, I want you to get all the advice and the instruction that you can. Not just a little bit of it, but as much as possible. And he says that the result of doing this is so that you will be wise the rest of your life. We talked about those consequences that come from decisions that we make. And while the consequences themselves are never fun, what even follows those consequences so often is a bit of regret. Regret that you made the decision that you did, wishing you could go back in time and change what happened because you don't like this feeling that you're living with now. And maybe some of you are sitting here and you're like, I made a decision just last week that I actually am carrying a lot of regret for today, and I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I would have thought twice or just asked for someone else's input. And maybe I wouldn't have to be walking through the heartache or the disappointment or the embarrassment or whatever it may be that I'm walking in now. If I would have just paused and just asked. And Solomon's saying, hey, the way to avoid that is to ask for advice. And guys, I believe that we serve a good God and that he wants the absolute best for you. And I believe that he doesn't want you to have to experience all of that. And so he's speaking through Solomon in this moment to you, telling you a way out of it. I believe that our God has a good and better life for you. And ultimately, I believe that a better life actually does come from listening to advice. Because God speaks through certain people that he puts in our lives, in different seasons and in different moments, and sometimes we just brush past them or we tune them out. And he's like, hey, no, I have so much better for you. I have so much more for you if you would just listen. And so I want this for you guys. I want each of your middle school experiences, each of your transit experiences, your life to be better because you were willing to ask for advice and listen to it. But the first step in making this a reality is simply, one, to figure out who is wise in your life. Because you guys know, now not everyone needs to have this voice of speaking into your life. No, there are some people, some friends, that sure, maybe they give you advice, but it's not good advice. And so you don't need to be following that. But I want you to figure out who is actually wise in your life and who you should listen to. That could be parents. It could be a teacher or a coach. It could be a really wise friend that you have, or it could even be your small group leader here in this room. Guys, that's the whole entire reason that they are here, that they show up week in and week out. They're not paid to be here. This is not their job. They're here because they love you and they're for you. And they've lived a lot more life than you. And so they are ready and willing to be able to help give you some insight and into some advice as you navigate so many different situations in life. And then secondly, after you figure out who, I want you to actually ask them for advice. I want you to ask them. And now this one's really where the rubber meets the road, because if you're anything like me, this can be a bit embarrassing. No, I'd rather people think that I have it all together. I'd rather people think that I know everything, that I can navigate anything that comes my way. But ultimately, each of us should be humble enough and willing enough to admit, hey, I don't though. And that's okay. But I do know that I can go to someone that I trust and ask for their advice or their wisdom or their take on it. And then I'll take it a step farther. I don't want you just to ask them, but I want you to listen to them. And honestly, as I'm thinking about it, I asked y'all for your advice earlier. I asked you for your advice when it came to building this pizza, but I didn't listen to it. And so now I'm here with this, mound of mandarin oranges and vanilla pudding and cheese and everything else that's wonderful in this world. And I'm starting to think maybe that, maybe I should teach myself a lesson. Maybe I should learn, from the mistakes that I've made here. Maybe I should actually bite into it. Maybe I would remember, from time and time again, like, hey, I should ask for people's advice. So what do you think? Okay, so here's my dilemma. Earlier, I should have listened to your advice of what to put on this pizza. But now half of you are telling me yes and half of you are telling me no, so I'm not sure what to listen to. So, maybe oh! Guys, it's so bad. I cannot even tell you how bad that is. It's the baby food for me. Just beware. I might, throw up. No, the point of the matter is, I don't want you to be like me. I want you guys to actually listen to the people that God has put in your life. And I want you to take their advice to heart. And I want you to have a better summer and a better school year. And so today you're going to get to go to small group. And I want you to be honest with your small group. And I want you to write down a person's name of who you could trust and who you could ask for advice. So let me pray for y'all, and you'll be dismissed. God, I thank you for this day, and I thank you for every student in this room. I thank you that they came here to transit this morning. I thank you that we just get to have fun together. But I also thank you that you have put some wise adults and some wise friends in our life. And God, I ask that you would give us the courage to lean into that, to actually talk to them and ask them what they think. Because I believe that you speak through people that you put in our lives, and I would never want any student in here to miss out on it. So I thank you for who you are to us. I thank you for your love for us. And I ask that you would bless their small group time and you would bless this day. It's your name I pray. Amen.